The quiet strength of growing up. Growing up is not something that happens overnight. It's not marked by birthdays, diplomas, or even moving out of your parents' house. Adulthood, in its realist sense, arrives quietly, often without warning. One day, you simply wake up and realize that life feels heavier than it used to. That silence means more than words. And that comfort doesn't come from things but from peace within. Being an adult means choosing understanding over judgment, and patience over anger, even when no one sees your effort. It's a strange transformation. When we were younger, we believed that growing up would bring freedom, the freedom to do whatever we want, whenever we want. But what we discover is that adulthood comes with invisible chains, responsibilities, unspoken expectations, and quiet sacrifices. Suddenly, weekends aren't always for fun. They're for catching up on rest, running errands, or simply recovering from the emotional weight of the week. The freedom we dreamed of turns out to be laced with decisions that require discipline, not desire. Yet within those responsibilities lies a new kind of strength. We begin to understand the value of choosing what's right over what's easy. We learn that not everyone will treat us kindly, but we still have to be kind. We realize that forgiveness is more for ourselves than for the people who hurt us. These are not lessons taught in school or through books. They are learned through pain, disappointment, and reflection. And as we navigate through life's unpredictability, we start to carry ourselves differently, with quieter confidence, deeper thoughts, and a heart that no longer rushes. Adulthood is not just about paying bills or building a career. It's about building character. It's about standing up for your values even when it's inconvenient. It's about apologizing when you're wrong and staying calm when you misunderstood. You begin to realize that life isn't about proving yourself to others, but rather staying true to who you are. And in a world that constantly pushes us to compare, to achieve, to impress, choosing to be real, to be kind, to be grounded is an act of quiet rebellion. Perhaps the hardest part of growing up is accepting that not everything will go the way we planned. People leave, jobs change, dreams fade, and that's okay. Life doesn't owe us perfection. Instead, it offers us lessons, growth, and chances to start again. The more we try to control everything, the more anxious we become. But once we learn to let go of the need to always know, to always win, to always be strong, we find a new kind of peace. A peace that whispers, "You are enough, even in the mess. You are learning. You are living." We start to realize that life is not a straight path. It's full of detours, delays, and unexpected turns. In our younger years, we were taught to believe that life had a certain order: study hard, get a job, find love, build a home, be happy. But reality doesn't always follow that script. Sometimes you lose a job before you even find your passion. Sometimes love arrives late or ends too soon. Sometimes happiness isn't loud and shining. It's quiet and slow, and you only notice it when you look back. And that's one of the biggest lessons of adulthood. Things don't always make sense while they're happening. We cry over what feels like failure, only to find later that it was redirection. We question ourselves when we're lost, not knowing that being lost is part of finding who we truly are. Growing up teaches us to stop rushing the process. Some things fall apart so better things can fall into place. Not everything needs fixing. Some things need releasing. One of the hardest but most powerful changes that come with growing up is learning to be alone and being okay with it. Solitude, once seen as loneliness, becomes sacred. We no longer chase crowds or fear silence. We begin to value the moments we spend with ourselves, the space where we can think clearly, rest honestly, and listen deeply to our own needs. It's in those quiet hours that we heal. We stop seeking validation from others and begin to trust our own voice. Relationships change too. As we grow older, we realize that not everyone we start with will stay until the end. And that's okay. We stop begging people to stay. We stop explaining ourselves to those who don't care to understand. Instead, we choose connections that feel safe, honest, and mutual. We no longer need large circles. We need meaningful ones. Quality over quantity becomes our new standard, not just in friendships, but in everything. Emotionally, we grow stronger, not by becoming cold or distant, but by becoming more in tune with what truly matters. We cry, but we recover. We feel pain, but we don't let it define us. We stop pretending to be okay just to make others comfortable. We begin to respect our limits, set boundaries, and honor our energy. Maturity isn't about hiding our emotions. It's about understanding them, holding space for them, and knowing when to let them go. As we grow into adulthood, we begin to rewrite our definition of success. It's no longer just about status or wealth. It's about peace, purpose, and balance. It's about waking up and feeling grateful even when life isn't perfect. It's about knowing what truly matters at the end of the day. Not the applause, not the likes, but the quiet moments when we feel aligned with who we are. The quiet strength of growing up is found in the way we keep going, even when no one is cheering. It's in the mornings when we get out of bed despite feeling tired, in the way we show up for work, for family, for ourselves, not because we always feel like it, but because we know we must. This kind of strength doesn't shout. It doesn't need applause. It's soft, steady, and often unseen, but it's real, and it shapes the life we're building. We also start to realize that being happy for others doesn't take anything away from our own journey. In a world that constantly tells us to compete, it takes maturity to celebrate someone else's success while waiting for our own time. We learn to be proud of people, even if we're still figuring things out. Because deep down, we know life isn't a race. Everyone blooms in their own season, and comparison only steals joy. Growing up also means making peace with the past. We stop blaming our childhood, our parents, or our past mistakes for everything that goes wrong. We take ownership. We understand that healing isn't about forgetting what happened. It's about choosing not to let it control our present. Some wounds leave scars, but scars don't mean we're broken. They mean we survived. And with each scar, we grew wiser, kinder, and stronger. The more we grow, the more we realize how precious time really is. We no longer waste it on drama, on fake friendships, or on chasing approval. We begin to live more intentionally, choosing who we spend time with, what we give our energy to, and what we allow into our hearts. We become more selective not out of arrogance, but out of self-respect. We've been through too much to keep pouring into what doesn't pour back. And perhaps one of the greatest parts of growing up is learning to enjoy the present. Not the next big thing, not what we hope will come, but what's here now. A cup of tea in the morning, a quiet walk in the afternoon, laughter with someone we trust. The small, everyday things that we used to ignore become our treasures. Life stops being something we chase and starts becoming something we live. In the end, growing up is not about having all the answers. It's about learning to sit with the questions. It's about letting go of control and still choosing to move forward. It's about becoming the kind of person who shows up with grace, who lives with intention, and who understands that strength doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers, "Keep going." So if you're feeling unsure, tired, or a little lost, that's okay. It doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're growing. Quietly, slowly, beautifully. And even if it doesn't always feel like it, you're exactly where you need to be.